City of Northglenn, Channel 8, keeping you informed of events in your community.
Okay, I'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order. Joanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Downing.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dodge. Here. Councilmember Snetzinger. Here. Councilmember Mollica.
Here.
Councilmember Sowers. Here. Councilmember Joe Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Becky Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman. Here. Councilmember Escabel.
Here.
Thank you. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any agenda additions or deletions from the council?
Mayor, I'd like to add a short discussion item regarding cancellation of meetings.
Regarding cancellation?
Yes.
Okay, let me see here. We'll do that right after the resolution CR 160 then.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are you adding that because I want to see the game and David is going on
I'm hoping
vacation?
it'll be really quick.
Okay. Okay. That's Kim. Anybody else? No? Okay, we'll move on the agenda. And the first thing we have is a proclamation for Socket to Sock campaign. And there's no one here to accept the proclamation, so I'll just read it from here. This is Socket Tuum Work Day. Whereas the Socket Tuum Sock campaign has strived every year since 2011 to raise awareness for the homeless throughout the winter months and gather donations of new and gently used socks to warm the feet of those without shelter. And whereas 2015 marks the 4th annual Socket Tuum Sock campaign and Socket Tuum Work Day, where Colorado communities are asked to forego their socks and support the homeless as a show of solidarity, and whereas those who participate in the Socket Tuum Sock campaign are encouraged to post pictures of themselves on the campaign's Facebook, sporting bare feet and ankles in order to help raise awareness of the cause and help encourage others to donate warm comfort to those in need. And whereas the Socket Tuum Sock campaign is a joint effort of volunteers and local businesses who have a goal of providing socks to 50,000 fellow Coloradoans in need this winter. And whereas the Socket Tuum Sock campaign encourage communities, schools, and organizations to adopt the day or week and start their own sock campaign through the winter months to raise awareness and lend a helping hand. Now therefore, I, Joyce Downing, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, do hereby proclaim December 9th, 2015 as Socket Tuum Work Day in the City of Northglenn and encourage all of our employees and residents to forego their socks on December 9th and donate socks for the homeless from now through December 31st, 2015. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 23rd day of November, 2015. And Joanna just told me a few minutes ago that we will have containers in City Hall that'll be set up and we're ready to go for the socks. Okay, so with that, next on the agenda, we have public invited to be heard, 5 minutes per speaker. I don't think I see any public. So the next thing we will do is the financial report. Jason, you're up.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jason Loveland, Director of Finance, here to present the third quarter financial update. I'll start off with an update on sales and use tax. Sales and use tax year-to-date through September was up 10.9% compared to the prior year, which is just under $13.6 million. I did go back to take a look at the prior several years. Last year at this time, the city was up 15%, and the 3 years prior to that, we were up about 5%. So part of that large increase is due to new development at Webster Lake, a new Walmart grocer that came in, and then the marijuana industry with the new tax that took place for 2015. So, however, if you take a look at the geo areas that don't necessarily have new development going on or new products, we're in the range of about 5%. So the economy is doing well. As you know, as I mentioned, as we came out of the recession from 2011 through 2013, we were averaging about 5% growth. So positive things in Northglenn's economy. I'll note specific taxes within this number. Accommodations tax is up just under 6%. Auto use tax still is doing very well, up 21%. Food tax is up 36%. And then sales tax specifically is up 9.5%. So all good news on the revenue front pertaining to the taxes. So that's always good news. I'll move on to the general fund. Here you'll see revenue of $18.3 million and total expenditures of $16 for a net change in fund balance of $1.9 million through September. On the far right, you'll see collection and spending rates. Those are consistent with prior years as far as the collection rate on the revenue side being at 79% of total revenues and total expenditures being about 71% through the year. On each individual line item, you'll see actually some positive numbers as well as far as the revenue collections for taxes, intergovernmental licenses and permits, user charges and fees. The other revenue line in the middle column, it shows the $1.6 million. That includes the land sale in June of $1.5 million. That sticks out quite a bit. Personnel and all of our expenditure categories are consistent with past spending habits and just the timing, and nothing of note or concern in any of those areas through September. Does anybody have any questions regarding the general fund, revenue and expenditures? Okay.
Jason, under expenditures, and I know you've said this before, but miscellaneous, it's always a huge amount of money and always bothers me when it just says miscellaneous.
So we categorize in the miscellaneous, there's trainings and registrations that are encompassed in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the
bulk of it?
The bulk of it. I know that there's not $500,000 of training that goes on at the city though. Mm-hmm. I'm drawing a blank. As we go through, if it pops into my head, I'll,
okay.
Dues and fees are also part of that. So a large part of the council's budget for different donations and grants and things like that is also encompassed in that. Veil is in that line item for what's collected and then
that
sent out as
explains
grants.
a large amount of that for the Veil board.
And that's specific why you see kind of a large number on the budget side versus what's actually being spent here to date. So.
Thank you.
So moving on to the non-major governmental funds, which include the Conservation Trust Fund, CDBG, Capital Projects Fund. We don't report on CDBG. It's a reimbursement grant, so the revenues that come in are offset, or the expenditures that we incur are offset by revenues that will be reimbursed for. So on the Conservation Trust Fund side, revenues are at $191,000, and expenditures of $385,000 for a net change in fund balance of around $193,000. Again, when compared to prior years, the revenue as well as the expenditures are consistent with collections over time. On the Capital Projects Fund side, revenues of $3.7 million and expenditures of $3.9 million. The collection rate, again, is consistent. Expenditures, that fluctuates widely from year to year depending on what projects we have going on. Last year, I think we had spent about 15% of the budget. This year, closer to 39%. But the net change in fund balance at the time is a negative $146,000. And you'll see that on the budget, we had planned for the entire year to outspend the revenues for the current year by $4 million due to large one-time capital expenditures. So I don't think that we'll get there in the next few months, but the negative change in fund balance is something that we planned for. So nothing of concern on that. Moving to the water and wastewater funds, total revenues are at $9.6 million and total expenditures about $8.9 million for a change in fund balance of just over $700,000. You don't see it on the presentation. It's in the regular monthly financial packet, not the presentation, but you'll see that we are seeing some impacts to the last couple of years' rate increases of about 10% in total revenue through September, which is a positive sign. I mean, that's something that we had planned for, and we're seeing that kind of happen towards the tail end of the summer with those final billings through September. Again, on the expenditure side, nothing sticks out. Spending rates are consistent with past years, and we're falling in line with budget as far as personnel, purchase services, and supplies and equipment. And our capital outlay, obviously we have a large projects budgeted there of $12.4 million, and we've spent just under $3 million through September. I think a bulk of the spending is going to end up happening in 2016, so we'll see some carryover in the spring of next year of those projects. And then lastly, the non-major enterprise funds, stormwater and sanitation. Revenue in the stormwater fund is $288,000 and expenditures of $122,000 for a net change in fund balance of $166,000. The sanitation fund has revenues of just over $1 million and expenditures of right around $900,000 for a net change in fund balance of just over $100,000. Collection spending rates consistent again, and falling in line with the budget. Nothing, abnormal to report. We're doing a good job of following what we had planned as far as the 2015 budget in both of those funds. I think I had on page 10 of the monthly report, we identify the geographic code areas and how they're doing. One is down, and that's Washington Point. It's been down for the last couple of months. It's down 5% on the year. We'll continue to monitor that and see how we're doing, but there's no significant, no businesses have moved in or out. That's just kind of a fluctuation of the market. And then cash investments at the end of September were $52.6 million. And again, that investment report detail is in the council, mail room is what we call it, or offices. I like office better than mail room, so in the council office. So with that, I am done. If there's any questions.
Mayor, just one quick question.
Okay.
So with Washington Point, I'm guessing that Debbie and Ryan are aware of that being down for a couple months.
Yeah, they're aware of that. Yep.
I'm just thinking maybe we should do a retention call out there and see if there's something we can do to help them.
We'll share that with Debbie. Okay, anything else? Yes.
Jason, for our new council members and for anybody new who might be listening to our meeting, can you tell us why our governmental funds and our enterprise zone funds are called, or our enterprise funds are called non-major when those are significant portions of our budget?
So that is a governmental accounting function, nothing that we call them being non-major. So it's a categorization in in governmental accounting, basically, as a percentage of overall revenues and expenditures. That's why those are categorized as non-major.
Gap principles, basically.
Right.
Okay.
So, but yes, not to shortchange anybody on any of those funds. They are very important, but that's why we categorize them as those.
Thank you. And then I just wanted to make a comment. Late this afternoon, I sent Jason a pretty lengthy email with quite a few questions, and I just want to say thank you for getting back to me very quickly with very good answers. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good. All right, anything else? Thanks, Jason. All right, next we'll move to the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote. And since it's so lengthy, you'd have to scroll down to the bottom in case anyone doesn't know. So.
I'll close that vote, and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Next is public hearings. Joanna?
And the first one is the public hearing on the proposed 2016 budget.
Okay. I'd like to open the public hearing on the proposed 2016 budget. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either for or against the 2016 budget? Seeing no one approach, we'll close that public hearing and move to the next public hearing, which is CB 1858.
A bill for an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 16, Article 15 of the Northglenn Municipal Code regarding industrial pretreatment regulations for public sewers.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing on industrial pretreatment sewers, right? Okay. Is anyone here to either speak for or against CB 1858? Seeing no one approach, I will close that public hearing and we will move to ordinance's second reading. And that is CB 1858, which we just had the public hearing on, so I don't think we need to have it read again. But David, do you want to?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. David?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. The industrial pretreatment program is basically a program that we impose or do out in the field with our businesses and our food service establishments to take contaminants out of our waste stream that our plant simply can't treat. This is an effort by the federal government working with the state, and they just tweaked up the language a little bit. There's 3 or 4 short phrases in the ordinance which we're proposing to change and make more in line with what the federal government would like to see us in our ordinance.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1858 on second reading passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance's first reading. Joanna?
The first one is CB 1860, a bill for a special ordinance rezoning from planned unit development, PUD, to planned unit development, certain real property in the city of Northglenn, commonly known as the Northglenn Pavilions, in the county of Adams, state of Colorado, and amending the zoning map of the city of Northglenn.
Move to approve.
Second.
David?
Mayor and council members, the exhibit to show exact location is on Exhibit D, I believe, or, no, excuse me, A. And this is an amendment to a 2002 PUD. It was the original PUD was 96 condominium units. This is off of Claude Court. The proposal now is for 37 units in a duplex configuration. It has some underneath parking for their vehicles and very limited road surface parking on the west side. So this is an amendment that was recently passed by the Planning Commission, and it's here for the first reading before you tonight.
Thank you. Discussion?
So is a different owner?
I believe it's a different owner.
It is.
It's going to be upkept or kept up
Kept
or
up.
kept
Yep,
up?
exactly,
not
kept up.
Run into the ground or?
Well, that's a good question. By the second reading, we'll hope to have the site improvement agreement and an HOA. And I believe the owner of these condominiums are trying to work with I think it's a 3 or 4 story tower that's right off of Claude Court,
Right.
to combine and have one HOA. I certainly hope they succeed in doing that.
I mean, it wouldn't matter with them because they're so far they're set back in behind the other place.
But if
Nice
if they can get them
one.
all into the same HOA, yeah, that would be great.
Because I know in Fox Run it gets confusing sometimes because you've got 3 over there, I think. Yeah. So, okay, any other discussion?
This
Yes.
is like a dumb question, but why is there one single-family residential unit in there? Just seems odd that there's one.
It was probably just, they were trying to, my understanding, Brooke wasn't here tonight, but my understanding is they were trying to achieve a certain lifestyle density there, and my guess is that one unit basically was the odd man out, to make it fit symmetrically in the site.
Yeah, that's what I was kind
Yeah.
of thinking too. I just thought it was strange. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other discussion?
I just have one quick comment about the memo. The subject line of the memo is 12155 Community Center Drive. So for next time, could you fix that for us? Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
I
All
know
right.
that's picky, but I
No,
think that we
but
need
it-
to have correct information for our residents.
We do need to have that. All right, anything else? Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1860 on first reading passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is CB 1861.
A bill for an ordinance amending the Northglenn Municipal Code regarding flood regulations.
Move to approve.
David?
The floodplain regulations affects Section 36. This was an effort by Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, Thornton, Adams County, to basically better delineate the floodplain of Big Dry Creek. That kind of runs about 168th just south of our Section 36. As Big Dry Creek flows east, it comes in contact with a rail line. It has inadvertent detention there, very similar to what's happening down in Grange Hall Creek by Fox Run. And the new floodplain mapping now is in place to show the actual delineation of the floodplain due to the inadvertent detention behind the tracks, or to the west of the tracks. And it affects our Section 36 only on the small section on the southeast corner, if you can see on the exhibit there, Exhibit D. There are 2 property owners there, and they've both been notified of the floodplain changes.
Thank you. Questions? Kim?
Is this part of the zoning code rewrite? Corey's saying no.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is not.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1861 on first reading passes unanimously. And I would like to note for the record that the public hearings on CB 1860 and 1861 will be held on December 14th, 2015, here in City Hall Council Chambers.
Thank you. All right, next is resolutions, and the first one is CR 123.
A resolution approving an agreement between the City of Northglenn, Ralston House, the cities of Westminster, Thornton, Federal Heights, Brighton, Commerce City, and Aurora, the City and County of Broomfield, and the County of Adams regarding construction of the Northglenn Ralston House.
Move to approve.
Second.
David?
Mayor, council members, and for our 3 new members, the Ralston House is a children's advocacy center. It's located at our water treatment plant on West 112th Avenue. The building the building is originally a Northglenn building. It's been serviced by the Ralston House for about 2 years. It's undersized. This is an effort to basically get them a new facility, get the Ralston House a new facility. The plan is to construct a building adjacent to the existing building, and then when that gets occupied, to demolish the old building. This first phase is $30,000 to take us through engineering and design. It's basically a 5,500 square foot house is basically what it is, so it's not a big building at all. There was some trepidation by the other jurisdictions about final costs, and the reason for that is because there are some complications with the site. We'd have to move the diesel generator that services the water plant. I didn't know what those exact costs are, so the first effort here will be to understand what the site constraints are, what their opportunities are, and come up with an engineer's opinion of probable cost. Then we will go back to the jurisdictions once we have that cost and see if we can get approval for all of them to follow through and construct the building. The total cost, I'm guessing at this point, since I don't know all the issues with the site, is estimated to be $1.75 million.
That total cost is for construction.
Yes.
Okay. Because if we add this, sorry, Mayor.
No, that's okay, go ahead.
So based on the listing and then in the memo, we have Commerce City and Aurora. They both are paying separately, right? Not together?
All the jurisdictions pay
Okay.
separately.
Because the way it's written, it looks like it's Commerce City and Aurora together. So, and the cost of this, if all of the entities, it looks like there's 11 of them, that's $330,000 just for the design services?
That's for the soft cost design services.
Okay.
And that's right. And the remainder, about 1.4 million would be for the construction.
And if all of the parties don't agree, what is the next step?
Well, that was, the first part of this was to get the parties to agree. You know, the only party that we believe that may not sign this would be Federal Heights, and I'm not sure what their status is, but I believe there's enough money here to go ahead with the soft costs and determine the end game for the total cost of the facility. All the other entities have agreed to pony up $30,000.
And that's for
They
the
have.
design, that's for the design.
Okay.
They're not a group, nothing has moved forward other
Yeah,
than the design.
once we get through the early
Yes.
conceptual, understanding what the cost of the conceptual plan and site constraints are, and an engineer's probable cost of the entire project, well, before we move ahead, we have to get approval from all the jurisdictions.
Kyle?
If Federal Heights doesn't agree to pony up the $30,000, will that cost be spread across the remaining, I guess, 10 other jurisdictions? So would you be coming back to have an increase in this, to, I guess, make it 33, I guess is what it would be?
We probably won't come back. I believe the cost will be under, basically, what is it, 270,000 times 9 times 30, or so I don't think it'll be over that. At this point, you know, I think the group would get back together and offer Federal Heights an opportunity to get back in, or maybe even take a lesser cost than 30,000. We know it's difficult for them to come up with that kind of money, but that remains to be seen, and hopefully they do pony up 30,000. But if they don't, we would take. I'm speaking for the group, but I think they would take less money just to keep them in solidarity with the rest of the group.
Right. Go ahead.
And I know that this is going to be coming out of the 2016 budget, is what it says. What's the timeline on this analysis? Do you think when are we going to find out if the site's feasible or not?
Well, we'll have the funds designated here, either in a special account or in our general fund, and Jason can probably talk about that if you want to know more. But I would say the timeline, if we get all the funds here early in the first quarter of 2016, I'll have a request for proposal out in the street to solicit consultants to do this work, and hopefully a few months later have an engineer's estimate of probable cost. Probably construction in 2017.
And Mayor, it's kind of off topic, but since we're talking about the Ralston House, I know that they're having a fundraising dinner here in a couple months, I believe, and maybe Chief can speak to it a little better, but...
And they will have it, and it's Union 240.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll let you know more about that later. They're still in the planning stages of it.
I think that something that we can consider, though, is what I want to bring up is I know that we have money allocated for certain events, and I think that might be a great event for the council
Right.
to sponsor a table or something.
Mhm.
else. So
I would encourage anybody that can go
Yeah.
to go. You know, it is a great group, so, yeah. All right, anything else? Okay,
Mayor, I want to follow up on Kyle's. We've been talking about the Ralston House and this for quite a while. And here we are doing more planning for it and another delay, so it's going to be 2017 before we do any construction. I think if we get the promises from all of these entities here, I'm assuming that these should be coming in here and before the end of the year. I don't think we need to wait until we have cash in hand to get this done. I don't want to wait and send out an RFP in March or April that's then going to take a couple of months to get those back in and get sorted out and just keep delaying it. So I think that we should move on it as soon as we have the commitments from all the folks, and I don't know what
Sure.
the rest of you think, but
It's been a long...
I'm tired of-
It's a long time. You know, I believe Adams
round and
County was
round.
already...
Yeah, I was planning to move forward as soon as I get the signed agreements back.
Right,
okay, that's
okay.
not how I understood how you responded to Kyle, so
Yeah,
I'd
and
like
I'm
to
with
hear
you,
that. Thank
Kim,
you.
I want it done, you know, it's been a long time,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't have taken this long.
I agree.
So, all right, anything else? Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 123 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is CR 160.
A resolution authorizing the necessary expenditures to accomplish the annual CIP program for the Stanley Lake Pipeline.
Move to approve.
Second?
Mayor, council members, and for our new council members, the Stanley Lake Pipeline is a 7-mile, 9-foot in diameter pipeline that comes from Stanley Lake to our treatment plant and to one of Thornton's treatment plants. It's really our only source to get fresh or raw water to our water treatment plant. It's jointly operated, both the maintenance and operating expenses by us and the city of Thornton. Every year, we dedicate a certain amount of money to specific projects. They're itemized here in your council memo. This year, the ask is $159,000. And of course, Thornton will match the same amount of money.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 160 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is an added agenda item for discussion. Kim?
So I was looking at our council agenda items that Joanna sent out to us for our upcoming meetings, and between now and January 4th, we should have 5 meetings scheduled. 3 of those have been canceled, and I'm just curious as to why, because none of those are holidays. They're not Monday holiday events, so just wanting to know why we've canceled more than half.
Well, it's, all the regular meetings are scheduled, and what we did was just cancel the study sessions. There was not a lot to put in there, and just to give the council some time off, you know, but all the regular meetings have been scheduled and not canceled.
Not according to the list that was sent out. But let me look at the calendar, and the December 28th would have been a regular meeting, and that one is canceled.
So what we did, though, we moved the 28th meeting, and I don't have the dates in front of me, to a study session. And so then that is a special meeting rather than a study session.
Okay,
So that's what it is. I mean, all the meetings that should have been scheduled are still scheduled. It's just that you don't have any study sessions.
I disagree with that,
But if you want to have
but, you know,
study sessions
I
along the
just wanted an
holidays.
answer as to why I mean,
Well,
I'll forget it. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Shut up.
Does anybody else have any concerns about canceling study sessions if we don't have a lot of topics to discuss? I need input.
I guess the only thing I'd say is maybe just run it by council so we know that it's happening. Then maybe Kim wouldn't have had the concern, that's all.
Okay, sure. All right, okay, thank you. Okay, next we have communications, and we'll start with Kim.
First of all, happy Thanksgiving to all of you, to our staff, to our residents. Everybody enjoy lots of good food and have a great time watching football. And hopefully my Cowgirls will win again. Secondly, I just have to say that once again this year, I'm very discouraged by our lack of any public being here at our meeting to discuss our budget with us. Our budget is our #1 guiding document, in my opinion, for how the city operates. I know I got no calls, I received no voicemails, no email, and we had 0 public here to help us with this. And it's just really, really discouraging and disappointing to me on that one. And then for our appointments to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board this evening, while I agree that Avery and Susan will both be very good, when they were here to interview, I had requested that be sent to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, their applications, and that didn't happen. So we still didn't get any input from the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. So I have asked Joanna to check into that, and perhaps some communication went out and I just didn't get copied on it. So, but I am a little disappointed that that happened. Happy Thanksgiving. Sorry, I'll end on a positive note.
All right.
Thank you.
Kyle.
I just want to echo I want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving and enjoy the time with your family. So
Thank you.
that's all I got.
Jordan.
I as well. Happy Thanksgiving and go Broncos.
All right. Okay, Joe.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. The only thing I want to mention is to this Saturday is Shop Small Business Saturday. So everybody go out and shop in your local businesses. It's really very important. That's how our businesses survive. So please support all of our businesses in Northglenn. And then the other thing I was asked to ask the council, the chamber is having their gala again on January 30th. And Susan's wondering if she needs to buy a table. So we already have 2 people that are going, but wonder if you are interested in going, please get hold of Susan so we know if we are going to get a table or not. Jack and I will probably go, and I don't know, but think about it and get back to her as soon as possible, so she can get that done. And for me, happy Thanksgiving to everyone also. Carol.
So just on the Thanksgiving note for residents, I know no one's here, but whoever can watch this, trash pickup will not occur on Thursday, but they will pick up trash on Friday for Thursday residents. So just be aware of that. I did attend the Fast Tracks meeting that was at Margaret Carpenter Rec Center, since that's really around Ward 1, and it was very good because we had planners from Northglenn, planners from Thornton there, and it was kind of nice to get input from both of the sides to see if everybody's on the same page. And a lot of residents showed up. There was a lot of good input from people, and so many planners there that everybody got their questions answered. So it was a really good event to find out what's happening there. Let me see what else. I did a lot. It's been like a month since we reported on this, but I don't want to bore you guys with all this stuff, so I'm going to pick and choose.
You're only killing yourself because you're missing your game.
You're right, but there's so many things. So the NAHF, we had our annual board retreat. I'm sorry, these are important things. They really get a lot done, the NAHF board. I just want to say that they're talking about moving the summer concert locations from the stage that's existing to the stage where they had the Pirate Festival bands. So up on the front by Community Center Drive, which will be awesome if it'll be right there. They're trying to bring in more of a crowd, so they think if people see that the concert going on there, that it will be good. So that's good. And they're also going to be able to serve liquor all over the park this time. They're not going to have the ropes. So if you like to drink liquor and walk around the park, I guess that's a great thing. Let's see.
I have a question.
Yes.
About that. Don't we have to be confined in a certain area for the liquor, though?
Well, they've increased it just like they did at the Pirate Festival. So it's
So that's
the
what
same.
it is. So it doesn't have to be
They changed
roped
the
up.
permit,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
They are updating their website. I think I mentioned that before. Why are you talking? Is that wrong? I know that they did that they're going to have more liquor.
I don't know if we've seen an application yet.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
I just don't know.
So since this was a board retreat, these are things the NAHF board would like to see happen. How's that?
That's better.
Maybe I'm giving free
So you-
information here. I'm like privy to this, okay?
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
Okay, then the last thing with the NAHF board is that they're hoping to have the online ticketing to buy tickets for performances up and running by June 26th. So that is a good thing. The city for Noel Northglenn has a lot of activities going on and a lot of ways to donate for the Children's Christmas Crusade. You can donate gifts, food, cash, and we've got giving trees. Now we have the sock boxes, I'm assuming, that were there last year.
It was.
So there's a lot of ways to give if you're interested in helping people that are less fortunate at Christmas time. There's a lot of ways. Just look into the website. And that's about it for me.
So with the RTD, did they discuss the work that they're doing at the stations? As far as, I know the planning. Right after Thanksgiving, Friday, and maybe they've already started, they're doing the grading and they're doing a lot of things, getting the stations prepared. So I just didn't know if they had discussed that or not.
Well, it wasn't a presentation. It was just open to the public for you to go in and look at the maps.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so it really never, probably if you had asked that question, they would have answered it, but
Right.
that was not one of my questions, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
So actually, they are working on it, and they're starting in the north, and then they'll be coming down to 112th, and then they'll go down to 104th. So just to let you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of action.
Yeah, there
along the
is.
track,
And
so.
I think they've already started, even though the schedules, they said they weren't going to do it until after, but. But good. I was going to go to that, and
Yeah, it was good, though.
I
It was
didn't make it. So,
Well, I, along with most of the city council, had the privilege of having dinner at the new Texas Roadhouse and cutting the big ribbon. And it's a great restaurant. It's large. I thought it was pretty phenomenal. The barkeeper, Jared, very nice guy, suggested anybody go there and enjoy a meal and meet my new friend Jared.
That's great.
Great.
Okay, I have just a couple of items. I wanted to really say thank you to the CDOT team. Last Wednesday, they hosted a small meeting for some of our Ward 3 residents that are impacted by the fencing. And the one-on-one time that they gave, I just really have to commend CDOT team for paying such close attention to those residents. So thank you for that, and thank you, Carol, for covering for Kyle and I at the beginning half of that. And then I was so excited to get back to the library board and hear all the great things that they're doing there. One of the things going on right now is the kids are participating in a national research project for maker spaces. So they're actually making things and using all of the new equipment. And it was really cool to see that that's going to come out in a study released by Oklahoma. They flew out to interview some of our kiddos right here in this area. And then the North Metro Fire, they had 10 new firefighters that graduated on Friday. And lastly, I know I'm going to say this last name wrong, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to say that our thoughts are with the family of Jamie Jarsovitz, this state patrol officer that was killed. So
That was terrible. Yes. Okay, thank you. Antonio?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, to say the least. Free meal at the Roadhouse and $10 gift certificate at Boot Barn. I don't know what you can buy there for $10, but that was fun. Friday, I was a math judge for the STEM Lunch School at Northglenn High School. And because I have a passion for education, I just had a wonderful, wonderful day with those young people. They're just so bright. These were freshmen. And they're just, I mean, I wished I would have had teachers like that and programs like that when I was in 9th grade. These kids got a bright future. Attended the Adams 12 School Board meeting last Wednesday, and basically the president said his farewell, and tomorrow night at 6 o'clock will be the swearing in of the new board, if anybody can attend. That would be nice. We got two outstanding women that are going to do wonderful work in Adams 12.
Good.
So, thank you for appointing me to that.
You're welcome. I
Fulfilling
know
a
you were
passion of
excited
mine.
about it. And just, I had forgotten, and it was today, we had a ribbon cutting. Holy Donuts is over there at the Huron Center. So we welcome them today. So with that, Joanna.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay? David.
Just a couple things. I've talked to Jim and Ron. We're going to bring back the emergency management plan to be adopted by council on December 14th. And I'll know a little bit more early next week, but we're going to have a Public Works emergency exercise on Irma Drive, I believe, on December 3rd, Thursday. It's just a small exercise, and this is all in preparation and practicing under our emergency management plan. So once I know the details, I'll give council a heads up on Monday, probably next.
Okay, thank you. Corey.
Nothing this evening.
Oh, you're going to wait, aren't you? Okay. All right, next on the agenda is public invited to be heard. We do not have any public tonight, so I will move on the agenda to move to go to adjourn into executive session. 1, pursuant to section 4.5 parent D of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for legal consultation and advice regarding potential litigation. And 2, pursuant to section 4.5 parent G of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for negotiations concerning the purchase of real property. Need a second, please.
second.
Discussion? Okay, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and the motion to adjourn to executive session passes unanimously.
Thank you. We are now in executive session.